Hey guys, and welcome to a new video here on Phloshop. My name is Joseph. I'm really excited about today's video because I'm going to be retouching an image from someone else. But before we jump into that, I just want to say a very big thank you for making 2018 a very beautiful and wonderful year for me. My YouTube channel has grown. And it's made me know how much you guys are really appreciating all the work that I'm putting or churning into YouTube, and also on my Instagram. A lot of stuff has happened, but yeah, ultimately I just want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has been a part of my 2018. To everyone that has subscribed to my YouTube channel, I say a very big thank you, and I can't wait to see what 2019 is going to have in store for all of us, especially with the content I'm going to create. Again, if you're new and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Also click on the bell icon so you'll be notified of all my posts. So yeah, today I'm going to be retouching an image from A_the shooter. You can check his page out on Instagram, and I feel he does really amazing. This is the one in particular that we're going to be retouching. It's something he's already done, and I reached out to him and asked him if I could retouch the same image. You know, it's amazing how two creatives can work on an image, and because of their personal experiences and what makes them who they are as an artist, you know, by definition you're able to create something entirely different. I don't know how this image is going to turn out, but I do hope I get something close to what he was able to get. Yeah, so if you want to check him out, it's A_the shooter on Instagram. He's in Dallas. So yeah, thank you very much for sending me the image. We have this image, and all I have done to it is made a copy and liquefied it just a little bit. I just didn't know how I wanted to shape it, and I didn't want you guys to be a part of all my indecisiveness, so I decided to do that, and that's the only thing I've done. So the one below is straight at the camera. You can tell the exposure is the same, color is the same, everything is the same. All I did was liquefy here just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to adjust the exposure maybe just a little bit, and I also want to adjust the color. Today I just want to start with color. I want to move everything to the way I want them to look in terms of color before I'm even gonna start dealing with screen shoot. You can just go to filter, come down to Camera Raw filter, and then depending on how fast your machine is, if Camera Raw opens, yes, you get access to Camera Raw ASAP. So what I want to do is probably just move the temperature down just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of magenta as well. So I'm just going to shift that a little bit like so. Yeah, I think that works. Then I'm going to add just a little bit to my exposure. Keep going. Yeah, I think this really works. I'm keeping an eye on the histogram as well. So I'm just going to up the contrast a little bit as well. Normally I don't add contrast, but today I just want to add a little bit of contrast. I'm also going to increase the highlights just a little bit, and the shadows, maybe I can just open that up a little bit like so. All right, I do not think I'm going to touch the whites at all. No, I don't think I'll play with the whites, but I'll go into my blacks and open that as well to about this point. The next thing I'm going to do is move into HSL adjustments. I'm going to start with the hue. So inside the hue, this is where I'm going to make quite a number of changes, and I'm going to add up in split toning and whatever other coloring method is here in Camera Raw. All right, so first of all, I'm going to move the reds just a little bit more to the right. I'm going to move the orange more towards yellow. I think this looks okay. I'm also going to move the yellow a little bit more towards the green side. Now I want to change the greens in the background. I want to have a little bit, in my head what I'm seeing is color scheme that is a bit cohesive, and I feel the green is just out of place in this case. So I'm just going to move all the greens and make them a little bit yellowish. So I'm going to move it all the way down like so. Yeah, somewhere here works great. And the aquas, I think the aquas, yeah, you can see them in the back here. I'm also going to move that all the way somewhere like so. All right, so now the blues, yeah, just take out the magenta if there's any, just ever so slightly. I'm going to go into purples also. And what does the purple, yeah, okay, so I'm going to move the purples just a little bit, and I'm going to move the magenta a little bit to the positive side as well. So let's deal with saturation. So this is what we did in the hue and the previous adjustments we made. I think this works great. I'm gonna move into saturation, and I want to saturate the reds first of all, and the orange I'm just gonna, yeah, I think I should just pull it down a little bit like so. And mind you, all these things you can go back and tweak them. So for now I'm just, you know, eyeballing and trying to gauge and pull as much color as I can out of the raw file. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit of yellow. I don't think I'll touch greens, but I can go into the aquas because I know where they were targeting in the previous one, and somewhere like, yeah, just a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more blues still because I'm still looking at the bright part of the image, and I just want to add a little bit of blue like so. I'm gonna go into purples and pull down the purples slightly. All right, so now inside luminance I'm still gonna brighten the red just a little bit like so, and I'm gonna brighten the orange as well because I need it to be that's the color that I'm kind of liking in the image. Yellows, I don't, okay, yeah, probably I can just maybe +4. All right, I think I'll just dull down the greens a little bit. Okay, maybe that's all I'm gonna do because clearly I can't see any other colors being present in the image. All right, so what's the next step? Split toning. So inside split toning we're gonna do just a little bit of toning into the highlights and shadow parts of the image. So I'm gonna start with the highlights, and I'm gonna move it into the warms just a little bit. Right about here works great. And you didn't see a change because the saturation is set to 0, but when I drag it all the way to the right, now you notice the part that it's affecting, right? And this is way too strong actually. So I'm just wanna, I just wanna add a hint of it. Yeah, just a little presence of yellow or like a warm tone in the highlights. And I'm gonna adjust the shadow as well. I'm just gonna add maybe just a hint of red, is it? Yeah, just a little bit. And I'm gonna up the saturation because I want it to be a bit strong this time. And the reason why I'm making this, I'm exaggerating the saturation in the shadows is because I'm gonna change the balance and try and pull it out of the shadows a little bit. So like the more I move to the right, you notice it's being reduced, but it's still present, but it's just being toned down a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep going till I find the spot where it looks pretty okay to me, and I think this really works. Yeah, this works out. So we're gonna go into calibration, and I think that is where I'm gonna end it, and if I have to add anything else, I'll just add it in Photoshop. All right, so inside the red primary, I'm just gonna add a little bit of red, and I'm gonna increase the saturation as well just to make it a bit more prominent. Okay, and inside the greens I'm also gonna increase the greens just a little bit, and I'm gonna up the saturation as well. I'm gonna go into the blue primary. I'll leave that as is, but I'm just gonna pull down the blues in terms of the saturation, and this works great. Yeah, before this is the image that we started with, and after, and I really like where we are with the image camera. So I'm gonna okay this, and it's gonna apply the Camera Raw filter. So what I'm gonna do now is just create my blank layer, and I'm gonna name it healing, and I'm just gonna go over the image, and if there's anything that needs to be healed, I'm going to be doing the healing on this layer. So I'm just gonna zoom into the face, but I'm doing this for social media, so I'm not really going to like spend so much time and cleaning it into detail. I just want to clean up the image and enhance what's already there. So now that I'm done with the healing, what I'm going to do next is just run my frequency separation action. So right here, just going to press play, and just a decent amount of blur is fine, and just press OK. Again, this is nothing too fancy. We're not gonna, really like make it look super magazine clean. I'm just gonna go down to my mixer brush and just gonna start blending away. Alright, so I'm good. So first I'm gonna make a copy of the low layer, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to reduce, or I want to be able to reduce opacity when I'm done. So alright, okay, so I'm not trying to take away from the way she looks, the makeup that was done, nothing. And that's why I've not even zoomed in, because I want to just smoothing things out at this level. Alright, so I think I'm okay with this level of frequency separation. I'm just gonna go down on the opacity to maybe about 50%, because I don't want it to be too strong. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is just run my dodge and bend action. It's gonna make the image black and white. Just open it, click on curves, and just add a bit more contrast, just like that. I want to focus on her face just a bit more, or try and balance it out. So essentially we're going to be relighting. I'm going to zoom into this point, and now I'm going to start with my dodge. I may speed up the video, especially because of the way my machine is acting up. Alright, so I'm gonna get rid of the black and white and just do a quick before and after. And I really like how we've been able to buffer up just a little bit with dodging and burning. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is relight the image with a selective dodge and bend that I mentioned. And so for this I'm gonna create two curves. So one to lighten, one to darken. So now I'm just going to target the face and drag this all the way up. I'm going to create a second curve, hide the visibility of the dodge one, and I'm going to target her thigh, and I'm going to darken that down like so. Alright, so I'm going to hit Command I to invert that, make the brighten layer visible, and invert that as well. So I'm gonna hit B for my brush tool, and I'm gonna move my flow all the way to 100%, and with a soft brush I'm just gonna lighten up the face just like that. So here's a before and after, and this works really well. Then I'm gonna bring my flow all the way down, and it's gonna brighten so slightly, just like that. Great. So here's a before and after. Alright, I'm gonna move on to the burn and gonna darken, and for that I'm gonna increase my flow just a little bit. Okay, so just like that, darken down the thigh. Okay, maybe I might even just darken the chest just a little bit like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just move my opacity all the way down to maybe 46 on the darken, and on the lighten I'm also going to bring my opacity down just slightly. And I'm going to group these two layers, Command G, and here's a before and after, before and after, and I think this works really great. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is still pull a bit more focus onto hair by darkening my edges. So I'm going to create another curves, and I'm just going to darken that down like so. Hit Command I, create another curves, and brighten it just a little bit like so. I'm gonna hit Command I to invert it, and now it's darker than we need. So I'm just gonna hit G again, and make sure this time I'm set to black to transparent. And I'm gonna start it off from her face and just drag it out like so. So now we have a little bit of vignetting, but her face area is just a little bit brighter. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the brighten layer. So I'm going to hit Command I, and I need to darken the edges. So I'm going to invert that for now. Again, I'm going to start with white this time because I want to reveal the brightness, and I want it just around her face. And I'm just going to click and drag that out as well. And now we have a little bit more light on her face. I'm going to group these two layers again, and just going to pull the entire opacity down just a little bit. So here's a before and after, before, after. You can tell we've pulled focus to her face just a little bit more. Okay, I feel we've deviated from the initial mood, which is a little bit dark. So I'm just gonna hit curves one more time and just bring my entire exposure down, just like that. So before and after. I feel like I kind of like it being bright. Just gonna go down on my opacity to about 50%, and let me just do an entire before and after, before and after. I'm gonna go and click on my gradient map. Gradient map. Right, and it looks good in black and white. So what I'm gonna do now is reduce the opacity all the way to 0, and I'm gonna sample the dark color. So I want this color to be my darks. I can tweak this later, and I'm going to go into my highlights. So once I've selected that, I'm gonna OK it, move this, go into my highlights, and I want like this tone to be my highlights. Press OK, and now I'm gonna make the layer 100%. Gonna invert the mask, and I'm going to paint this into the skin. So with a normal brush tool, 100% flow, I'm just going to paint this, and by setting the blend mode to color, I'm just gonna paint this into wherever her skin needs some uniform toning, just like so. Okay, so now that I've painted everywhere, I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit and paint out of the unnecessary areas. So I'm gonna hit X on my keyboard, and I'm just gonna paint out of wherever doesn't need this color, just like that. So obviously this is way too much, so I'm gonna bring the opacity down somewhere around 30%. Okay, so now that I have been able to select the colors that I want, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just going to add a hue saturation, and I'm gonna clip it to the gradient below, and that's because I want to tweak the colors that I just selected. So what I'm gonna do is probably just shift everything a little bit to the left, like to about -5, and I'm just gonna increase the saturation of that a little bit to about this point. And with the lightness, I'm also gonna add just maybe +2 to the lightness. All right, so what I want to do next is just add some color balance. So I'm gonna click on the color balance icon. So inside my shadows, I want to add a little bit of red, and I want to add a bit of green as well, and I want to take out some blues, so that's gonna go into just about -3. All right, I'm gonna go into the midtones, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. So inside red, I'm gonna add quite a bit of red. I'm going to add a bit of green as well, just like that. You can see it affecting the image, and I'm gonna add a bit of blue. All right, what I'm gonna do next is just go into the highlights and also color the highlights the same way. So inside the highlights, I want to take away the reds just about this point, and I want to take out the greens if there are any, and I want to add more blue, like a lot of blue, which is going to make it look cleaner and brighter. So somewhere about this point works fine. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do again is add selective color, and you can play with this as much as you like. I'm just having fun with the colors, just looking for what works the best. I'm going to start off in the blacks, and I'm going to add a bit of cyan. I'm going to add +1 magenta. That's my dog barking. Yeah, and I'm going to darken the blacks as well. All right, so we're going to go into neutrals, and I'm just going to add just a bit of magenta and add a bit of yellow into the neutrals. Then I'm going to go into whites, and I'm going to add a bit of cyan, again just making it look brighter, and I'm going to take away yellows just like that. All right, what I want to do next is just dodge the fair a bit. So I'm gonna go to my actions and click on dodge, run the action. It comes with black, so I have to now paint with white to reveal it in the areas that I want it to be visible. So I'm gonna go over like the white areas of the fair. I'm not being too precise because I want it to look a bit random. What I'm gonna do next is probably just run the brush over his thigh just a little bit. I'm gonna run my noise action. I'm just gonna add a bit of noise to the image. I'm gonna leave that as is, and I'm gonna add a gradient map. So over here, I'm just gonna select a very odd color, something I've never done before. So a color like this. I'm gonna press OK, and I'm gonna bring the opacity down to about 42%, or like, yeah, somewhere anywhere between 40 and 50. And it's a bit too strong, but I'm gonna change the blending mode from normal to color and see how it affects the image. This is a bit better, but it's still a bit too strong, so I'm gonna come down on the opacity all the way down to maybe 10 or 11. I really like these tones, but they're still too strong for my liking, so I'm gonna bring the fill down as well, and this just works perfectly for me. All right, what I'm gonna do next is just brighten the entire image just a little bit. So I'm gonna hit my brightness and contrast icon, and I'm just gonna add a bit of brightness just about this point. that is it, guys. This is it for me. I think I have brought the image to the point that I love so much, and I'm gonna end it here. So I'm gonna group everything we've done, hit Command G and call this retouch, and I want you guys to have an experience, and so I'm just gonna make it slightly bigger, fit the screen, and here's a before showing you exactly where we started from. So with a healing brush we did a little cleaning, frequency separation to remove just a little bit of blemishes, and skin smoothing, dodging and burning to add depth, put to the model, and later on we added some to the fabric, especially in the dodge area, just to make it pop a little bit. And we used dodge and burn again to light the model. And this is what we have after we color graded and added a bit of noise. If you haven't subscribed, please do so if this is your first time, and if you like this video, give it a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think about it. If you want to see more videos like this, I'll be happy to make a lot more of them. Thank you A_the_shooter for giving me this image and letting me retouch it as my last image in 2018. Thank you. If there's anything you would have done differently as well, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.